Today, we're going to talk about something that's super common, but also really, really misunderstood. We're getting into the anatomy of angry tears.
You know the feeling, right? You're in the middle of a really intense argument. You're feeling that fire of anger, and just when you need to be on your A game, you feel your eyes start to well up.
And that is just the most frustrating thing, isn't it? Because suddenly, on top of the anger, you're now frustrated with yourself, feeling like your own body is completely betraying you. Okay, if any of that sounds familiar, I need you to hear this loud and clear. You are not weak, you are not overreacting, and you are so not alone. This is a deeply human thing, and we're about to break down exactly why it happens. So what is actually going on? Well, to get to the bottom of angry tears, we have to look at what anger itself really is. Because, it's often not what it looks like on the surface. A lot of the time, anger works as what's called a cover emotion. Think of it like a big, tough shield. It's the emotion we show the world because, honestly, it just feels safer and a whole lot stronger than what's really going on inside.
And what's hiding behind that shield? Well, it's usually a mix of these much more vulnerable feelings. It could be a deep sense of hurt because of something that was said. It could be fear of losing something important. Or maybe it's that sharp sting of disappointment or shame, or just that awful feeling of being completely invisible and disrespected. When those feelings get too big to handle, they just spill over.
But look, this isn't just a psychological thing. There is a very real, very powerful biological process happening here. It's all about your brain and your nervous system. So here's what happens. When you feel that overwhelming mix of emotions, that anger, that hurt, your brain basically flips a switch and goes into a high-stress state. Your heart starts pounding, you feel tense, your body gets flooded with stress hormones. Crying? Well, crying is the physical release valve. It's your body's natural way of dialing down that intense pressure to bring you back to a state of balance. So I want you to think of it this way. The tears aren't a sign that you failed at being angry. They are literally part of your body's strategy to manage the sheer intensity of it all. It is a coping mechanism. It is not a collapse. Okay, so we've got the cover emotion, we've got the biological overload, but we can actually go one level deeper to find the real trigger. And so often, it all boils down to a really basic, fundamental human need that isn't being met. When we cry out of anger, it's usually because one of these core needs is getting trampled on. You're trying so hard to be heard, but you just feel completely ignored. You desperately want to be understood, but you feel dismissed. You need to feel respected, and you're just not. Or maybe you just don't feel safe enough to really show how angry you are. That's the stuff that fuels the fire. And you might be wondering, where did I even learn to do this? Well, for a lot of us, the blueprint for how we handle anger was drawn up a long time ago, back when we were kids. Think about it. If you grew up in a place where showing you were angry got you in trouble, or where any kind of argument felt scary and unsafe, or where just asking for what you needed led to you being rejected, your brain learned a really important lesson. Being openly angry isn't safe for me. So that emotional energy had to find another way out. And often, it was channeled into tears. It was a safer, less punishable way to let it all out. And this is so important to get. This response you have, it is not a flaw in your character. It's an adaptation. It was a pretty brilliant way your system figured out how to survive in an environment where you couldn't be your full emotional self. So this brings us to a huge shift in perspective. We have to stop seeing angry tears as some kind of emotional failure and start seeing them for what they really are, a form of communication. This chart says it all, really. We're taught to believe that tears equal weakness, that when you cry, you're giving up your power. But the reality? Those tears are your body trying to regulate itself. And even more than that, they are a desperate attempt to communicate something that your words just couldn't get across. So what are they trying to say? Sometimes the message is this simple and this powerful. The tears are basically screaming what your voice couldn't. Please just listen to me. I don't feel heard. Other times, the tears are communicating a sense of utter helplessness. They're saying, I'm at the end of my rope here. I've tried everything I can think of, and I don't know how to make this pain stop. And maybe this is the most powerful message of all. Angry tears often show a depth of feeling that words just can't touch. They're a signal. They're saying, this isn't some small thing. This matters to me so much that my entire system is overloaded. All right, let's pull all of this together. The goal here isn't to just magically stop crying when you're angry.
The real goal is to understand it, because when you understand it, you can empower yourself.
The next time this happens, I want you to try and remember this. Your emotions are not wrong. The anger, the hurt, the frustration, the tears, all of it is valid information. It's data.
And here's the last piece of the puzzle. Your body is not working against you. It's not betraying you. It's using a survival tool that it learned a long time ago to keep you safe and to manage what feels like an impossible amount of emotional intensity. It's just doing its job. So I'll leave you with this question. The next time you feel that familiar, frustrating sting of angry tears, instead of judging yourself for it, try to get curious. Just for a second, pause and ask, what's the unmet need right now? What's the deeper feeling? What are my tears trying to tell me? Because the answer to that question, well, it just might change everything.